Okay, welcome to this quick version of the latest live stream video that we did tonight. And this is working on a 8 by 10 inch piece of vinyl holographic sticker paper. And I wanted to do this because I wanted to see if, I don't know, kind of any of the techniques that I've used before on this paper are going to be different in some way by doing a large format piece. The stamps that I'm going to be using on here are the Art Foamie versions of the Stampscapes designs, recent releases, put out by Art Foamies, not Stampscapes, so you can get them over on the Art Foamies website. But I wanted to see how this would go here, and one of the things that I really like using on this printable holographic sticker paper is the water-based Brilliance pigment ink in white. First of all, because the Brilliance inks just really adhere and dry on this sticker paper, printable sticker paper that is, and it adheres so well that you can use a hard medium such as colored pencils to color in your scenery, and it won't scrape off like it would if you applied any type of pigment ink over the top of something like a holographic cardstock or foil, okay? So the printable aspect of this really comes into play when using this combination of media. Okay, so I'm applying my white pigment ink with a 100% cotton ball here. And I've done this a lot of times before, but usually on smaller formats. I don't know if I've done a 8.5 by 11 or something of that, size. But I really like the feel of it. I felt that I can kind of get into these clouds a little bit more, just by having more space to work with. I felt that the clouds look pretty realistic here. I don't know, not that we're going for realism or something like that. We could be going for, I don't know, impressionism or expressionism or something like that, but it was just really easy to apply here. And it came about a lot faster than I would have thought. It doesn't really add too much time to it, I found here. Okay, now speaking of the ink adhering to the surface, not too long after you apply it down there, it's fairly dry to the touch, so you don't have to worry about smearing or anything like that. Okay, now I'm adding some white down below, but I'm doing that more as a color block out, okay? The white up above the bottom part represents clouds and the cloud reflections in the water. And this area down below is an area where I'm going to stamp a couple of the boulders with lichen down there, lichen impressions down there. So I want to block that out. Otherwise, those stars and holographic surface are going to show right through the rocks. Okay, stamping this out. A very large foam stamp. It's 9 inches across, believe it or not. It's a huge stamp, but very easy to get your impressions because it is a foam version of a stamp, and it will contour very easily to the surface of your paper. Alright, going for some impressions down below. And you can see those rocks stand right out because I have added that white underneath it, okay? And again, if you don't do that, you'll just have some stars showing through your rocks. And I wanted things to be a little bit more opaque. Alright, going for some additional impressions here using the spruce tree. Sometimes I mask off the rock so that the trees are behind the rock, and this one I'm putting in front of the rock. Just to give that rock, the boulders with lichen down there, a little bit more dimension by having something in front of and also behind it, okay? Okay, now, you didn't have to wait, or I didn't have to wait very long at all. Like I said, this Brilliance ink is designed to dry fast, but it also dries very fast on this emulsion-coated printable vinyl, okay? So you can go right into it with your colored pencils. Now, the softer the colored pencil, the better. If you have a really super hard type of colored pencil, maybe it won't transfer as well as these softer Prismacolors. So you just have to kind of experiment around. I would imagine, though, that you can get some sort of transfer with any type of colored pencil, but I just don't know how much you'll be able to build up on top of that pigment ink with a harder type of pencil. Okay, and I'm adding some of these blues into the rocks to add its shadows, and I'm also adding some into the cloud areas to kind of reinforce the shadows up there. I didn't do too much in the clouds because I wanted it to be nice and light and airy. Adding some shadow areas down in the boulders with lichen. And now I'm going in with a darker blue here, so I work through a range of values with whatever color scheme I'm working in. And this is supposed to be a nighttime scene, so you know the rocks are just going to be in variations of blue. Okay, now the darker you go, you just kind of, in this case, you apply that a little bit more towards the base of the rock. Not that every rock doesn't have to be treated the same way, inevitably in nature or anywhere there's going to be different kind of lighting situations, from area to area. And I'm not sure, this is maybe the black that I'm using here, or is that the dark blue? Okay, this is probably the black right here. So we're really adding that down at the base of the rocks and on in this case, the water's edge. Okay, now up top I felt that there was just too much open space, so I'm going to create kind of a little bit of a corridor for that starry holographic sticker paper to show up like it's a kind of a break in the cloud type of thing. So I'm putting some clouds from above. Okay, now going into the scene, I'm adding some white pigment ink over the top of the image, so we have some white pigment ink underneath the image, but then when you apply it over the top of it in the form of mist or fog or whatever you might call that, I feel that it sets the image into the scene a little bit more than not having it there, so it really envelops the object, and I feel that the objects become more a part of the scene. It's sitting in the scene so much better. Okay, now on this holographic paper, there's, it's a really loud surface, so I'm adding in a few extra stars with a paint pen. Going in with the rocks here with a 3mm paint pen. You can use a pretty big paint pen because this is a really large format scene here. Adding in some highlights onto my rocks. We had the highlights on the tops of the rocks where the shadows were added underneath. Going in with the paint pen for some larger stars in the sky. This is a 3mm paint pen, and the first one I was using was the 0.7mm paint pen. And adding some of those little kind of twinkly light reflections down in the water. There's my Orion's belt right there in that sky. I don't know if you can see it. And going in and adding kind of a nice light glow around some of the larger stars, just to change the texturing of those little dots up there from, some of the stars to the other ones. It just changes and varies the textural range of those little dots up there a little bit more. Adding a little bit of a touch of lighting and mist at the base of that fisherman. And there you have it. This is a really large format piece right here, but I find it kind of to be roughly the same experience as doing it on a smaller piece, but it makes it really easy to be using the large format Art Foamies version of the Stampscapes stamps. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching.